And that's a lot of what like consultants do. Like true real consultants go and find the solution and present it to their client. So if you don't know how to do something, find a solution or go talk to a closer. Go find a closer and have a conversation with them, ask them for help. Pay them for an hour of their time just to give you some feedback. Like there's a lot of ways to create solutions around, the sales process. Hey, this is Nick with Consulting Profits, and today I want to show you an offer I created and how you can actually use this leverage consulting offer and start selling it to the tune of $50,000 a month. I'm super excited to get into it. And you can kind of use this offer and mend it into any industry. I did it specifically for the house painting space because I think, I'm a big fan of local home services, but you can do this in literally any industry. If you're already in a proven industry, like let's say you have a marketing agency and you're really struggling right now in the kind of $5,000 to $10,000 mark and struggling to scale it, it's really most likely that your offer is just really commoditized in general. So what I'm going to show you is how you can actually create a leverage consulting offer and actually do so where you can sell this probably for $10K upfront. So if we're looking at the numbers for you to hit $50,000, right, all you really need is 5 clients a month. So it takes the pressure off. You're going to be able to charge more. And if you get them great results, what you can do is you can negotiate typically a retainer or, a growth commission or something like that on the back end of the revenue that you bring them. So this is just kind of the offer that I had created, and I want to walk you through it to kind of show you how it is a whole solution, right? And this is what's really powerful about leverage consulting is you're selling a solution. And if you're hearing like financial objections, right, where they're saying, I can't afford this or things like that, it's really just a nice way of them saying like your offer is shitty. Because a lot of the time in niches where you think they're broke, you can actually sell them high ticket stuff. All right. I've seen it happen. Example for realtors, right? It's a notorious industry where they give financial objections, but if it's something they want, they will find the money. Like with a realtor, they had to get licensed, right? Well, it's like over 6 to 10K to get your realtor's license, from what I understand. Don't hold me to that, but I know it's expensive. They somehow find the money from somewhere. And if you're trying to sell like $1,000 Facebook ads package to them, well, they're going to give you the financial objection every time. I've seen that happen a ton, right? But with that being said, anyhow, let's jump into this offer, and then you can take this offer, sell this exact same offer, just basically change it to whatever niche that you're in. So whenever it comes to any service-based business, typically there's 4 pillars, right? There's going to be getting the leads. There's also going to be converting the leads into appointments. It's also going to be closing the leads. And then also you'll have operational bottlenecks that you can help/consult with. So I really like this because if you can cover all 4 bases, it essentially means that for them to go from A to B, right? A being where they currently are, B being where they want to be, right? You're essentially closing that gap and accounting for everything. So how you create an offer is you really start to think about every possible scenario where they could fail. So for example, if you ever have generated a company leads, but they don't call the leads, well, it's not because you did a bad job on the ads. It's because you never accounted for the fact that what happens if they don't call the leads. Sometimes house painters are busy. What if they're painting a house? What if they're dealing with a project? What if they're on an estimate? What if they're, there's all these different scenarios where they're not calling these leads. And if you're a half decent marketer, you know that leads need to be called, and the faster they're called, the more success you're going to have. So it's like, how can you fix that? How can you build out a solution to fix that? So basically, from there, the only other issue is really like closing the leads from there, like this is kind of like if you have some experience or things like that, you can help out with these things. But also I'll show you something else, which is a really cool part of this offer. But there's also operational bottlenecks. Like if you've ever talked to a client where you did a really good job for them and they're like, oh crap, I can't handle the leads. There's too many leads, and you almost did too good of a job. That means they just have operational bottlenecks. Like they weren't going to be able to scale anyways. So it's like, how can you help them and best support them in helping them smooth out their operations? So let's dive into this. So the first pillar being the residential leads. So obviously this is based on whatever clients that they want or whatever leads they're going for. But for most house painters, they want residential leads, right? Interior and exterior leads. So first step is consulting them on their offer, right? What is going to be a good offer for their brand? What offers do they already, what have they run before, promotional offers and things like that has gotten great results. So we're going to figure out what are some winning offers that we can actually put into the ads. And this is a very important piece of the puzzle, because a lot of the time, if you look at the ads library, like I can't believe some of these agencies are running like the most freaking disgusting ads I've ever seen, where they're literally just offering like a free estimate and there's like terrible copy and the image is crap. Like if you can even just help them, consult them and figure out a winning offer, like that's half the battle done for the ads. Okay. Then it's the ads creation part and then the ads management. So actually creating the campaigns and running the campaigns, making sure that, the campaigns are all good. This is all done for you. Very easy. You're probably already offering these things. Now, as we get deeper into this solution, this is where things change. So most of the time, agencies just offer this. Like if you're just offering that, you're going to get eaten alive, because there's guys like me that are offering everything, like a full on solution. So this is where, you start to build out certain solutions and customize solutions for your clients. So I talked about converting leads into appointments. Well, the first step is to help them build a CRM and a pipeline, so they actually have something to keep track of their leads. They know exactly where the leads are at, if they closed, if they didn't close, if they're close to closing, if they're hot lead, if they're cold lead, right? Things like that. So this already is huge, because especially in the local home service space, they are super disorganized. Most of them, you talk to like an older business owner, a lot of the time they'll say like, I'm still writing things on paper. So like if you can help them build the CRM, in fact, I've literally had clients where they paid us just to build them a CRM. And I'm talking like a go high level pipeline, a very simple pipeline with some basic automations and things like that. Okay. And then the next thing is an AI appointment setter. Very easy to set up. You build them out a little AI appointment setter. Then they don't have to call the leads within 5 minutes. So that eliminates the issue if they're on a job site, or if they're busy with dealing with employees, if they're putting a fire out, if they're driving, or if it's in the middle of the night. Whatever it is, an AI appointment setter is just going to handle that and essentially set the appointment for them. So all they have to do is just show up to the appointment, right? So it takes another step out of their hands and they don't have to worry about that. And then long-term automations, right? So this is like to nurture leads long-term and things like that. So you can see here, just with these two things, it's already a really strong offer, right? If you talk to them and break it down and position the offer correctly, this is a really strong offer. But now, so that's done for you as well. And now here's where we kind of get into more of the consultative part of the offer. And which is why I call it leverage consulting, is because you're always coming up with solutions. As a consultant, your job is to figure out problems and come up with solutions. And I guarantee, as you start to build out your offer and you start to talk to your clients and consult them, essentially, you're going to start to find more solutions. And as this gets built out more, your moat is bigger, because it becomes really hard to copy your offer. Copying this part, like if this is your offer, so easy to copy. But if you start to build things out like this, very difficult to copy. This is why this offer work so damn well. So the next part is closing the leads. So once you schedule them, the appointment, the house painter has to go and close the leads. They have to go show up and do the estimate. So I'm not saying that you need to help them with how to estimate, right? But if you've done business and you've done your own sales, it's very likely that you have some value when it comes to the sales process. All right. You don't need to know how they calculate their numbers and get to their price, but you can also help them by just asking them questions about the sales process. So a lot of the time, what I found was they don't know how to work cold leads. A lot of these business owners are really used to organic referrals where they're just getting referred leads, and they think they're like an insane closer because they're like, oh, my closing rate's like 100%. Well, that's sweet and all, but it's also because you just got a referral and they trust you and they were going to buy no matter what anyways. Doesn't make you a sick closer. So a lot of the time I've realized they just need help. They just need to know that these leads are cold. So it's like if you can build them an SOP to just kind of like have a framework of the closing process. If you don't know sales, go look up a video on how to close and, basically like help your client implement these things. And that's a lot of what like consultants do. Like true, real consultants go and find the solution and present it to their client. So if you don't know how to do something, find a solution or go talk to a closer. Go find a closer and have a conversation with them, ask them for help. Pay them for an hour of their time just to give you some feedback. Like there's a lot of ways to create solutions around, the sales process, right? And what you can even do is if they're getting to a point where they can't even handle the amount of leads coming in, you can help them hire a closer. I mean, it's as easy as posting a job post for them, sifting through some applicants, and helping them interview them. It doesn't take long. But could you imagine if you doubled their lead flow, automated their appointment setting process, and hired them a closer, and they were just printing money? Like this is why it's a solution. Like I've literally taken out every possible scenario where they could fail and created a solution around it. The next thing is the operational bottleneck. So let's say this starts happening, but it's like, oh crap, I don't have enough people to paint. I don't have enough house painters. I can't handle any more work. Well, it's like, I don't want to be penalized for doing too good of a job and getting you to a point where you're just handling so much work. So what you can do is a hiring funnel, right? And we actually tested this out where you're actually able to create ads to hire people, right? And if you can do so, that's really freaking powerful because now there's no excuses. Like everything is accounted for. Every possible failure is accounted for, and there's a solution. And that's really good because let's say you start hiring him a couple other painters, or you start posting some jobs or things like that. But you can literally just run ads, and you'll get a ton of people who want to work for this company. And then from there, you essentially have created this whole solution where they can't fail. All they have to do is pay you to implement all these solutions, and they'll 10x their income for sure, right? And then obviously the financials part. So this is the same thing kind of with the sales process. You know anything about running a business, cash flow and things like that. I'm not saying to get into the nitty gritty of it all, but let's say they have like a lower profit percentage. It's like, okay, cool. Who can you talk to kind of figure out how to get their profit up? Talk to an accountant, pay an accountant for an hour of their time, right? The whole point of this and what I'm trying to show you guys is that there's ways to find solutions. And if you can sell this as a whole solution, you can sell this for like 10 grand. But if you're just trying to sell residential leads and you're not accounting for anything else, they're going to be like, you're just going to get commoditized. I could hire someone off Upwork for $200 a month to run ads, but I can't hire, like it's really hard to replicate this, right? So it's way harder, and obviously they're going to be way more stoked to pay for a solution because they know that there's no chance of failure. But with this, you're just selling this, there's always a chance of failure. Plus, it's way more competitive because it's honestly the easiest part of the offer to do. So hopefully that was beneficial for you guys. You guys can take this offer and basically fit it to whatever industry that you're in, or whoever you sell to. This works great, just as kind of a baseline offer, and then start figuring out solutions that I didn't even account for, and start coming up with solutions. And this is how you start to create this leveraged consulting offer that you can sell for like 10K, and make a bunch of money off it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I really hope it was beneficial for you. If it was, please do me a favor and subscribe, and also comment below, and like this video. So let me know, again, whatever other questions or anything that you have in the comments, and I'll get back to you. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon. Take care.